interested to see how the teams in our EU finals today approach their team building. We saw a lot of that, what we refer to as score comps during the February finals, which are where the teams push to score points as frequently as possible, flipping those objectives as the YERMAN Burger Flipper team name would imply. And I'm interested to see if Duraludon can lean into that or if it pushes people away from that strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Blaine kind of anchoring that YERMAN Burger Flipper team, but the player to watch for me is definitely Solary Yoshi for POGCHAMP. They're going to be in that central area, most likely picking up the refrigerator that has all the fear in the world on Spraggles here. We see Decidueye Cinderace. I know they were playing a little bit of Duraludon earlier today, but taking a look at that Decidueye, that is good, secure from a distance here. Jeff, talk to me a little bit about the skill set that comes with the Decidueye.
Decidueye is actually one of the characters, while not new, that we saw get a power level increase in the most recent balance patch. That Spirit Shackle allows you to secure objectives and knockouts on the opposing team from an incredible distance. And the build that we see here on both Decidueye and Cinderace is very common for those center path carry Pokemon. You have Muscle Band and Scope Lens to pump out consistent amounts of damage, and you have that Buddy Barrier to give you that key health boost.
We're looking at these teams pick their players here, and I'm looking at both sides of the board, and it doesn't look like YERMAN Burger Flippers are going for that score comp in this particular setup here. Now, I'm taking a look. We see Kivo, we see Urzaron on the Duraludon and Hoopa, those two new characters.
Now, something noteworthy here, we see Lucario on both teams, so it's likely going to be taking the top path role. But something notable from our orange team here is Nazu is playing Greedent with that Fluffy Tail, which allows it to secure those last hits on wild Pokemon that much more effectively. Going to be interesting to see where Greedent plays in terms of positioning in this match. There's a lot of different places it can go. We could see it just be a top or bottom path, but sometimes we also see it invade into the opponent's central area with this character.
Yeah, Yoshi's going to have to be heads up in their central area. We did see them lock in Duraludon, which is different than what we particularly saw on the player cards there of the Cinderace as well as the Decidueye. But that's something they're going to have to keep an eye on. They're going to have to be live on the comms and make sure that they get the support if Nazu goes for that central area invade.
Yeah, Duraludon, as opposed to the other carries that Yoshi had highlighted, I think something we're going to see a lot of. This character is at a very powerful impact in the way teams are playing the game. As our teams get started here, we see Nazu with that green that I pointed out earlier. Looks like they are heading to the top path, implementing a 2-1-2 strategy for our YERMAN team on the right, while POGCHAMP is going with the more typical 1-1-3 composition.
Yeah, it looks like YERMAN is trying to just stress that top path a little bit with those two characters. But the player advantage in the bottom is working its way into action here as POGCHAMP was able to get a little bit of an advantage in that bottom path.
Yeah, it's important to remember that Pokemon Unite is definitely a team game. And what this means is while YERMAN's has chosen to give up some of the pressure that they would normally have in that bottom path by being 2-3, they're using that disadvantage there to push their advantage in the top path, resulting in POGCHAMP's Lucario and their Duraludon likely coming out behind because of it.
Sorayu able to close it out on the green, on the Skwovet right now. So that player advantage didn't quite work out for YERMAN as they had their central area player roll up Urzaron. But we're back in the bottom path here as POGCHAMP is just working through the stuff on their side of the map, trying to get those levels up and not lose anything too early as the bees have arrived.
Yeah, and we see here, talking about where that Skwovet is going to be in terms of position. We see after it gets knocked out, it is heading directly into the central area for POGCHAMP, looking to perhaps pick up some knockouts. And something very interesting here from YERMAN, it's not alone in that central area with Duraludon for YERMAN joining them there, perhaps trying to get a knockout here on Yoshi.
Yeah, Yoshi in a bad way. Here's the Fridge and the Squirrel team up for this the most. We'll call that the Ice Age setup, right? The refrigerator and the Squirrel, we getting it done over there in the opposing central area. Good look by YERMAN and exactly the receipts they were trying to dish out.
We see some of the power of that hyperspace hole on Hoopa there in the bottom path for YERMAN. Both of their characters very low on HP, able to take that hyperspace hole back to their starting area, heal up, and then jump back right down to that bottom path to begin applying more pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. POGCHAMP again staying a little bit reserved, trying to make sure they get all their stuff. As I'm just kind of keeping an eye out on the Skwovet as it's kind of going all over the map wherever it wants here. And now YERMAN rolling down to that bottom path, maybe trying to get ready and get set up a little early for that Dreadnought.
We see the payoff of what YERMAN was trying to set off playing out a little bit early here with their Duraludon being level 7 a bit before Yoshi here, as they get some knockouts in the top path, again pushing this 2 to 3 advantage against the more powerful characters in the POGCHAMP team.
I mean, central path, Yoshi getting KO'd again, and that's exactly what YERMAN wants to do. Keep them off their levels, keep them behind, and that's the way they're going to leverage an advantage here. As POGCHAMP is all over the bottom Bs, no worries there, because I still think this is working to YERMAN's favor based on what they're trying to execute here.
Yeah, and we see YERMAN utilizing that hyperspace hole, connecting those outside goalposts to bring down their Duraludon and Lucario that are over-leveled at this point. That Duraludon notably has hit the very key level 9 breakpoint, which means it has its very powerful Unite move that we see pop off here, increasing its attack and allowing them to secure a bunch of knockouts and this first Dreadnought.
Just getting some KOs, and they're able to... Oh, wow, the Slowbro steals the Dreadnought for POGCHAMP. That's a great look there. And now, but doesn't matter, YERMAN Burger Flippers is putting a pressure on in this bottom path. They're going to try and close out this goal zone despite losing the Dreadnought in a bizarre fashion. Great steal by POGCHAMP to kind of keep some parity going here and get some experience on their side. And Solary finally hitting level 9 and getting that Unite move for themselves as well. But the Express Lane Highway on the map has been clicked on by YERMAN, and they're moving to the top path.
Yeah, and we see that even with POGCHAMP able to sneak out that very valuable last hit on the Dreadnought, YERMAN able to keep parity, even be a little bit ahead on level still, thanks to the push they had in the top path to start here.
Yeah, Nazu getting KO'd, and now the Rotom is kind of open, and POGCHAMP takes that one too. So now the objectives are rolling into the way of POGCHAMP. You love to see it. Now YERMAN's stuffing their goals, and that's a Unite move, and we're see if they can convert on that, get some KO. There's one KO. Let's see if they two. Is that a 2-shot? They're dropping 2 right now. That Duraludon, the Johnny Cash Pokemon, using that Ring of Fire, cranking up the heat, and taking the opposing team down, down, down. Jeff?
Yeah, we see that outside goal getting broken, giving POGCHAMPs that very valuable point lead to start here. We see YERMAN now sweeping down to the bottom to perhaps make a push on this bottom goal zone to not only catch back up in points, but trying to secure the positional map advantage before this very important second Dreadnought is able to spawn here in 25 seconds.
Yeah, that's going to be the ticket here, as YERMAN's going to have to get down to this bottom path, and they're just circling around, maybe getting ready for that objective, as you mentioned. A little bit of action in the top goal zone as Crackies gets their points in, probably off the back of a score shield there, and now trying to work on a crowd for themselves.
This upcoming fight around the second Dreadnought is going to be one of the biggest explosions in the game, as this is the key point where we see all of these Unite moves start popping off with these incredible buddy barrier shields blocking out lots of damage from the opposing team here.
Well, I saw back-to-back Duraludon Unites, and then, of course, 2 Hoop on Bounds are moving across the map, and they're chucking haymakers into each other. YERMAN Burger Flippers getting the worst of it, as they had 2 players down, and now Slowbro playing forward here, and they're going to go back, and they end up getting the Dreadnought themselves. POGCHAMP getting their 3rd objective of the game here, despite being behind on levels a little bit for most of the time. And they're pressuring this bottom goal zone here. 4 points left on it. They're going to be able to get a good overdunk if they can clear out the trash, which is the YERMAN Burger Flippers KO streak of 2 for the Duraludon Pokemon KO streak of 3. You can't stop it. The fridge fear is real down here on AO Silent.
Yeah, we see POGCHAMP turning that little bit of behind early into an incredible advantage off that first Dreadnought steal. It allowed them to keep parity in terms of levels, which allowed them to then win a team fight at the first Rotom, which then set them up to push off at that second Dreadnought in the way that we just saw there. The Duraludon for POGCHAMPs already level 14 with still 3.5 minutes left in the game. Those last 2 levels are such an incredible stat advantage in Pokemon Unite.
Yeah, having 2 levels on their counterpart is not good news if you're YERMAN Burger Flippers, and they have to get creative on how they're going to make up that gap here. We see YERMAN Burger Flippers, they're kind of saying to their side of the map, don't want to overcommit and maybe feed anymore into this POGCHAMP squad that's getting over-leveled and very strong very quickly. And YERMAN Burger Flipper is going to... Oh, look at this! POGCHAMP moving in as a unit as they're trying to take down the Rotom. The Unite moves come out, and now they're putting the pressure on. YERMAN Burger Flippers starting to fall like dominoes in this upper path here. Finally, the whole team has to pull up, and just the KO streaks are raining in for the Duraludon again, and they're going to hit level 15 before this Zapdos, no doubt about it, as the Rotom, it does not make it in, but who cares? KO streak of 3 for the Duraludon. Yoshi was the player to watch, and Yoshi is cashing it in all over these YERMAN Burger Flippers.
Love the absolute fantastic positioning from POGCHAMP there. If we noted, we saw 3 of their members wait to get vision with that Rotom to see how the opposing team was positioned so they could attack in the most ideal way. We see the teams now converging on this bottom path as the 3rd Dreadnought of the game spawns, perhaps looking to push that level advantage even further for the rest of the team, because Duraludon for POGCHAMPs does not need any more levels. They have secured that level 15, and they are as large in charge as they can be in this matchup.
I mean, Nazu doing a good job leashing Soreyu around, just trying to keep them out of the mix here. However, that's not going to be long for this world, as YERMAN Flippers has to get on the same page here, because they're diving all over this Hoopa, and now the Duraludon has to come in for the save, and they do. Kiva ends up making it out, but that Zapdos is here.
Yeah, the Zapdos is spawned, and notably, look at the positioning on the map here. YERMANs are caught outside of the Zap Pit at the start here, and POGCHAMP is just going in on this objective, pulling them into a team fight that they cannot win, as 3 members of YERMAN go down very quickly.
Hoopa Unbound is certainly getting shackled now because YERMAN Flippers is not converting on that. Now it's just up to them to finish the job. POGCHAMP does. They seal it up. They unlock those goal zones, and now you know what it is. It's Hundo Burger time. It's double bucket time. It's straight ducats, and POGCHAMP has the opportunity to just sway this lead before they can even get some points in, Jeff. YERMAN Flipper says, I'm done here. Wash our hands of this one. Game 1 did not go the way we wanted.
Yeah, what an absolutely dominating performance there for POGCHAMP, winning that end game team fight without losing a single member and putting up 500 additional points before they were already had a lead here. That says 454 to 192, but in reality, if YERMANs had not conceded the game when they did, POGCHAMP would have been well over 700 points here, making it insurmountable to catch back up.
I mean, Yoshi, what a game there. We saw their name pop up on the screen 3 different times for KO streaks at 3 or more. I mean, 11 KOs, absolutely nasty business when you're dealing with that Duraludon. POGCHAMP showing the strength of that new Pokemon for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the 11 knockouts there, along with 8 additional assists for Yoshi, really highlighting how they were able to get to level 15 as quickly as they were. More knockouts than the entire opposing team. And